everyone. Hope you're all having a nice evening. I've had 3 packets of Parma violets and I'm off my tits, so I don't know how this is going to go. I might forget everything I'm going to say. Anyway, so I'm a PhD student. I don't pay any taxes. It's pretty good, but they do pay me to study, which is great. And I went home last week to see my family and my friends and stuff. It was quite nice, just a random little holiday. And everyone always asks me 2 questions, actually, people ask me about what I do when I tell them that I'm a PhD student, tell them what I study. The first is, what is the point of a WASP? I think the reasons behind that should hopefully become apparent over the next few minutes, but we'll see. The second question is, so what are you going to do with that? Which is not a question I really like, because I don't really know the answer. But I've kind of been thinking about it recently, and actually, I really love what I do. It's great fun. So I would really like to be doing more or less exactly what I do now, except get paid more money, ideally. So you're probably wondering what exactly it is that I do and what it has to do with wasps. So I actually study wasp sex. And I don't mean like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant sex. That probably wouldn't be that exciting, I don't think. But no, I study wasp sex, and a lot of my friends think that's quite odd. Probably a lot of people who aren't my friends think it's quite odd too. But the main reason my friends think it's odd is because I'm a bit of a prude. So the fact that I study sex in general is kind of weird. But yeah, maybe like other academics, like some of them we've seen this evening, I'm kind of more inclined to invest my effort into studying sex than having it. I don't know if that's a normal thing for academics or if it's just me, but okay. But anyway, wasp sex is interesting, and I think it is worth studying. I think there's a lot we can learn from the sexual etiquette of wasps. And hopefully, I'm only in my 2nd year now, but I've learned quite a bit in the last year, and hopefully in the next few minutes I can impart some of my newly acquired wisdom onto you guys about what we can learn from wasps. The first thing is foreplay is really important. Foreplay, crucial. A female wasp, if she's not impressed with a male wasp's pre-copulatory performance, won't open her genital pore and let him put his wasp junk in. And in a wasp, no means no. She's not morally obliged to, let him mate with her because, it might damage his fragile male ego. I don't think wasps have a conscience or a sense of self-worth. But that could be a really interesting study. Maybe I should do a PhD on that. So foreplay is very important, and what female wasps are looking for in a mate, it's more important than, a vas deferens full of wasp sperm or a nice, hard, shiny exoskeleton, is the smell of his mouthpart pheromone. And now this is a study which I was reading about early on when I was doing my literature review for my PhD. So the people who found out about this mouthpart pheromone thing, what they actually did was to superglue male wasps' mouths shut. And they found that these superglued males were sexually obsolete. They didn't get any genital pore action. So, I think that's pretty interesting. But, what would happen if we replicated that in humans is what I'm thinking. Now, apparently the male mouth is quite important for various aspects of pre-copulatory courtship in humans. But I can't help but think maybe the likelihood of them getting to that stage in the courtship ritual will be significantly enhanced by supergluing their mouths shut. Unfortunately, I don't think you'd ever get it past an ethics committee, so my speculations may be irrelevant. But maybe if there are fewer males and more females on ethics committees, we might be able to find that out. So it's not just pre-copulatory stuff that's important for wasps. For a male wasp to, ensure his sort of wild oats are adequately sown, he can actually ensure that his female stays faithful to him by, a few seconds of appropriately timed post-copulatory courtship. Kind of like cuddling, this whole cuddling thing that people do. That's how I like to think of it anyway. So, female wasps are monogamous. They're really faithful to this one male that they mate with. Males, not so much. They will mate with a lot of females in a very short space of time until they've ran out of sperm. And then once they've ran out of sperm, which does happen in wasps, they keep mating. Obviously, if you're a female wasp and all you're really looking for from sex is sperm, and you mate with a male who doesn't have any sperm, so you don't get any sperm, then you are, in an evolutionary sense at least, fucked. But fortunately, the story doesn't end there. There's actually a sexual revolution in wasp society going on, and that's what my PhD is all about. Female wasps are shedding the shackles of monogamy and embracing free love. So it's brilliant, good for them. So what I'm trying to do is look into why are they doing this. So there's a few ideas about why females might mate with multiple males, and one is that basically they mate lots of times with lots of males because of all of the hassle they get from males desperately trying to get access to the old genital pore. So I mean, this idea that it's easier to be a slut than to be frigid doesn't sit so well with me. It goes against a lot of my principles, and on a personal note, I've never found it difficult to be frigid. So yeah, what's going on? But I don't like that idea, but just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not true. I'm trying to be a good scientist, so I decided to test it with my wasps. So I got a male wasp and a female wasp, and I put them in a tube together and left them there for a while, and they were quite happy. And then I did the same thing again. I got a female wasp, but then I got 10 male wasps, and I put them in the tube all together, and they weren't so happy about this arrangement. Neither was I, because I was essentially initiating gang rape. But actually, female wasps, it doesn't really bother them being harassed by 10 males at a time. They can handle it. They can handle all these males piling on them, and good for them. But the males, they really can't handle it at all. All this desperately trying to get her to mate with them and sort of fighting amongst themselves. They die after a day or two, and the females are on their own, quite happy in that tube. So that's as far as I've got with the whole experiments, research stuff so far. But I've still got 2 years left of my PhD, so we'll see what happens. But doing a PhD is not just about the research, it's about networking and meeting new people and meeting famous scientists and probably making a bit of a tit out of yourself. So I've actually had my conferencing debut earlier in the year. I went to the 3rd International Entomophagous Insects Conference in Montreal in Canada. So that was my first time in Canada, and I saw a beaver, which was really nice. Yeah, so actually my PhD supervisor told me that he'd never been more proud of a PhD student than he was of my performance at that conference, which, that was a big deal for me. I've earned the respect of my mentor. I was pretty pleased about that. But actually how I did it wasn't to, wow all these famous scientists with my intellect. It was to dance with the best looking boy at the conference, at the party. And maybe romance could have blossomed, but seriously, when that guy opened his mouth, I really wish someone had super glued it shut. Thanks everyone, it's been great.